Hello, I'm Lauren with IndoorGardening.com, and today we're going to talk about how to care for your lucky bamboo. Lucky bamboo are very popular plants, very easy care plants. They can be found just about anywhere. They look like normal bamboo, but they're actually a form of Dracaena, which is inedible and toxic, unlike normal bamboo, which is edible. Though lucky bamboo is not edible, it is a plant that is supposed to bring luck and wealth and health to those who are gifted it. So therefore, it's one of the most gifted plants in the entire world. It's usually passed from family member to family member. They can last a long time. You can also buy them in drugstores, grocery stores. They're usually purchased in rocks, not soil, but they can grow either way. Perhaps somebody has gifted you a lucky bamboo, or you were just drawn to it in the store and now you need to take care of it. Don't worry, today we've got all the care tips for you. Originally, lucky bamboo was discovered in Southeast Asia and has since gone global. This plant has been gifted so much that it has been given to millions of people around the world because it is so easy to propagate and so easy to grow, and its care requirements are very minimal. As far as water goes, this plant absolutely loves to be in water. It loves to have very moist soil. It loves to live in water. It's not very particular. As long as it doesn't dry out too much, it is very happy. The only thing that's particular about the water is if it's very hard water with a lot of chemicals or a lot of minerals. American City tap water, for example, might be a little much for it. If you can use filtered water, that would be better. Distilled water doesn't have any nutrients in it, so you would have to substitute with some sort of fertilizer in there if you're planning on having your Dracaena live in there for a long period of time. Otherwise, it's going to start dropping leaves and yellowing. It's not going to be very happy. So if you can have just normal water with normal amounts of minerals in there, it'll be perfectly fine. It's not too particular, but you can get leaf burn if there's just a little bit too much chemicals in there. Light for a lucky bamboo is one of the absolute easiest things because they can handle anything that's not bright direct light. You can put them in very low light. People have them in dark rooms and they'll survive for a while. No plant is no light, but lucky bamboo is pretty darn close to that. They can also handle bright indirect light. So if you have a very bright window, maybe a southern facing window that has direct sun shining in, if you can pull some sort of shade or curtain over that a little bit, it can even be a sheer curtain. That will make a huge difference, and that will enable this plant to be in front of that window without getting burned. Now, if you're going to move this plant from a very low light or no light situation to a very bright window, you may experience a little bit of leaf loss because that is a very big change. Any plant's going to struggle with that, but this is one of the very few plants that could live in any one of those situations and be perfectly fine. So let's talk about temperature. Lucky bamboo are not frost tolerant. They are able to withstand some cold. They can handle 55 to 60 degrees as a minimum. And then on the upper end of the spectrum, they can handle 90 to 95 degrees. Unfortunately, Dracaena cannot handle freezing temperatures, but almost any in-home temperatures that you have, Dracaena are very capable of handling. You can have them in your very cold bathroom, or you could have them in your very hot kitchen. It just depends on what's going to work best for you, but they will be able to handle whatever you can throw at them. Next, let's talk about soil, or what substrate and medium that these plants like to grow in. They can grow in just about anything. As long as they don't dry out too much, they're good to go. A lot of times you'll buy them in grocery stores. They'll come in some type of rocks or perlite or clay. They'll be in a fancy pot with no drainage, and you just pour water in there in a regular. They've even been grown in vases, and you just have rocks at the bottom to keep everything stable. This is a normal way to grow these plants. They don't mind it. They don't mind having a lot of water around their root systems. They just need something to grip onto to keep them from toppling out of the pot, because they do get very top heavy with long thin stems and then all their foliage up top. So definitely use some type of rocks if you're going to be keeping them in just a water situation. As far as soil mixes go, this plant can handle pretty much any mix. As long as it's not too well draining, they actually like a very moisture retentive mix. It can be a heavy peat based potting mix, and that will be absolutely fine. You just want to add a little bit of perlite in there and make sure that it's going to be deep enough that the plant is not going to be able to topple over, or use a ceramic pot so that way it's not going to topple over. If you use a terracotta pot, then that is fine. It's going to allow the roots to breathe. You will need to water it more often though, because these plants are water hogs. They absolutely love to be watered. Their humidity is pretty high in their original location, so they're used to high humidity. This makes them great for bathrooms, over kitchen sinks, if you have a high humidity home because you live up north or Pacific Northwest or somewhere where there is a lot of humidity. This plant is going to be perfect for that. Humidity will prevent crisping tips on there as well. A lot of times these plants will dry out too much, or if the air is too dry, then you'll notice that there's a little bit of browning on the edges. Perfectly fine. You can trim that off. There's no problem. That's just a sign that's in a lower humidity. If you want to increase the humidity, you can get a humidifier or a pebble tray. We do have a whole video on how to increase humidity for your plants in very effective means. Misting is not an effective way to increase humidity for your plant. You can mist your Lucky Bamboo. It just won't do very much. It'll just be something that makes you feel better, but it's not going to prevent the crispy tips. It's not going to increase the humidity enough to actually make a difference. Lucky Bamboo do not have the capability of processing a lot of fertilizer all at one time. They need a weak diluted fertilizer over long periods of time. Some people only fertilize their Lucky Bamboo every 3 to 6 months. They really do not need that much fertilizer. That's another thing that you need to worry about if you're going to be putting your Lucky Bamboo in soil. A lot of soil mixes, even if you just get perlite mixes, they will come with a lot of fertilizer in them. So you want to be checking and seeing if they have too much fertilizer and diluting that, rinsing that out, watering that down, finding some way to reduce the fertilizer. Be sure to check out indoorgardening.com for more information. We're always happy to help. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!